Okay guys, it's Sunday night, and as usual, I'm trying to give everybody a little heads up on what's going on this week, where we stand, and how things are going. So as you can see, I'm sitting here with my computer and getting ready to finish up, hopefully, most of the written work you guys have put in over the last 2 weeks, and catch up on the discussion boards, and hopefully, with tomorrow being a day off for some of us, nominal day off, and I touch on that really briefly in my comments about the material this week. I'll finally be caught up on where I need to be with all your grades and everything. Gotta say, I'm very pleased with the way things have been going with the grades and with the participation on the discussion board. The participation in particular is really good, and I'm very happy with that. Grading on the written work, I just thought I'd make a real quick comment on that. I'm partly through the midterms right now, and I should be having those done tomorrow because I really would like people to have them in hand as you go through this week and into the early part of next, heading towards a final exercise. And I want to make sure that people understand what I'm talking about, because I try to include a comment with every grade that I put in. This to me is very important because it really doesn't mean anything, particularly in a course like ours, if I just hang a number out there and say, oh, well, this was an A, this was a B, and because you deserve to know why, and I think it's going to help you to know why. So what I really try to do is go in and tell you what separated you pretty much from a better grade. And because that's a concern with a lot of people, but also a major concern with me is not so much the grade you got, but the learning that you exhibit. And so that's what I'm really looking for. Make sure, again, when you're doing some written work for us, that your grasp of the concepts comes across. A lot of times people will see in the notes that I leave you and says, I wish you would have gone a little deeper into what principle you were citing, or what principle you were applying, what method you were using, not just your opinion of what the situation was. Because as we said, if you just go on opinions there clearly is no right or wrong on an opinion. But we need to develop a good, sound basis for making good, ethical decisions. And as I said right up front, this is a decision-making course as much as it is an ethics course. So what I'm looking for is evidence that you understand the models, the processes, the procedures, really the methods of making a good decision, and that you exhibit that in your answer to the case study, the question, the hypothetical situation, whatever we put out there for you. You'll also notice that I have been, and I will continue to make, comments about your writing and your written communication. This is so important as to almost not be believed. And I want people to know I'm not trying to run an English class here. I'm not trying to run a writing class. But I am trying to run a business class. It's business ethics. And one of the biggest things we're going to find in business is you need to be able to communicate your ideas clearly and succinctly and in a manner that aids your credibility, that does not detract from your credibility. So really, when you write something, be careful about it. Make sure, from little issues like use spell checker to make sure there are no misspellings. Read it back to yourself to see if it makes sense. Don't try to write like you speak. Write like a writer. Go read some newspaper articles before you write your paper so that you see writing in action and come away thinking in that way. Don't just sit down and start writing after you've watched a TV show. Why? The communication method you saw in that sitcom will be in your mind. Go take the newspaper article. The communication method you saw in that newspaper article will be in your mind. It will help you. So I'm not being nitpicky. I'm trying to help you build credibility, because this is going to help you in your career, not just in your academics, but in your job. This is important. The communication skills are really critical. And the other point I would make, as I've made to some people, You and I have been reading the material in business ethics. I've been following your discussions on the discussion board. You've been having those discussions on the discussion board. So you might write something that's a bit unclear. And yet I will understand what it is you're trying to say. What I need you to do is to back up, take a look at that, and ask yourself, when you write something, would a third party, a person who had not been involved in the discussion up to this point, be able to pick up this piece of writing, read it, and understand what it's all about? If the answer to that question is yes, then you've probably done a pretty good job. If the answer to that question is no, then I strongly suggest you go back and look at it again. Not so much for what you're saying, but this time for how you're saying it, because that has a big impact on your credibility and your ability to get people other than yourself to make good decisions, which is part of the managerial aspect of this course. Okay, so I really hope to be caught up tomorrow. If you have any questions, and several of you have had questions, again, feel free to contact me. Use my email. It's probably the best way. I try to get back to people as soon as I can. Look at the comments that come with your grades. Those will let you know what's going on with your grade. And we've got a busy 2 weeks ahead of us to finish up, and I know we're going to do a great job of it. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a good evening.